Danger, Will Robinson. There are 5 very subtle ways you can be acting like a Judaizer, and the result is going to be misery. Trying to keep the laws, even in these very subtle forms, having the attitude that, yeah, I've done enough good to merit favor from God, or yeah, I can do stuff to keep myself saved. It can manifest itself in very subtle ways, and ultimately, because it is legalism, it doesn't mean you're not saved. It just means that you're being legalistic, and the result is absolute bummed outness. I think that's a term. Let's take a look at the big 5, shall we? Number 1 way you can be a legalist: you get angry when others get grace. Hey, that guy shouldn't get saved. What are you saying? I should. The crackhead? He shouldn't. What? A guy who is involved in sex trafficking? I can't believe God saved him. When we should be saying, I can't believe God saved me. That is the spirit of grace. The spirit of legalism says, you don't deserve this nearly as much as I do. Jesus addressed this with a parable. You'll recall there was a laborer hired early in the day. They were promised, work for the day and you'll get paid this wage. In the middle of the day, the boss hired more laborers and said, you work for the rest of the day, you're going to make as much as those other guys. Hold it, it gets even worse. The boss hires some workers right at the end of the day and promises them, hey, work for just a little bit the rest of the day and you're going to make as much as the guys who have been working all day. And what was the response of the people who had been there since sunup? Hey, you can't do that. You can't pay them the same amount that you paid me. And that is exactly what God does in the gospel. Let's just say you've been working like Paul to be a really righteous as a fallen, totally depraved human being can be. You've been striving for that. And you got saved. You could be tempted to see the prostitute, the individual who had an abortion, people who have been in the Ku Klux Klan and go, well, that's just ridiculous that God would save them. That is what Jesus was after. Have you ever exhibited that attitude? It is the spirit of legalism. Way number 2. A legalistic person constantly evaluates whether they're getting a fair share. Why? Because we think that we deserve to get ours and other people don't. Why? Because we think that we've been doing things that force God to give us what we have earned for ourselves. Bingo, that is legalism. Do you ever feel like that, think like that, talk like that? When you are envious of people who have perhaps made their way up the corporate ladder faster than you have you ever thought, I'm the one. I'm the guy that should be up there. It doesn't mean that you are a condemned, damned legalist. That is the person who believes to the end, I am pulling my way up to heaven by my efforts. That's damning legalism. This is the attitude of legalism that causes you to think, I deserve it more than anybody else. Do you see how that can leave you miserable? Because a lot of people are going to get ahead of you in life. And if you maintain that attitude, wow, not just miserable, bitter. Third way we can be legalists. A legalistic person constantly compares themselves to others. I do more, I give more, I evangelize more, I work harder, I raise my kids better, we homeschool, they don't. Ooh, that is a spirit of legalism. How will that leave you feeling? In short order, miserable. Way number 4. A legalistic person lacks joy. And finally, a legalistic person feels like God is never happy with them. And this one might make you feel the most miserable of all. This is the person who wakes up in the morning not with joy, proclaiming, "This is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it because my biggest problem has been solved." No matter what the day holds, under God's providence, I can praise Him because I am not going to face the wrath of God because of Jesus. And every day can have joy in it. But when you think, what if I blow it today? What if I don't do those things that make God keep me in the family of faith? It's going to leave you drained, unhappy, lacking joy, always thinking, I've got to do something to please the Father. That is why Paul said, look, I'm going to remind you of this gospel thing again. Why? Because we can forget that all of the righteousness of Jesus Christ, it gets credited to our accounts. We are debtors. Jesus has a fortune, and He doesn't just pay our debt. He gives us the whole inheritance, all of it, through His redemptive work on the cross. Never forget the gospel, because if you do, you're going to become a legalist and you're going to be downright wretched. Making professional videos is neither inexpensive nor easy, which is why